What's better than $2 Tuesday at Sports Memo? How about Freebie Friday? We can't go any lower than free, and each and every Friday we'll hand select a best bet from one of the hottest handicappers on the site and give it out for free. All you have to do is each and every Friday, head over to sportsmemo.com. The Freebie Friday will be listed on the homepage, and you'll be just a click away from a free bet.
Hello, everyone. It's me, Lawrence Presman. Welcome to WagerTalk Today, June 11th. It's a Friday, and Teddy is not here today, so it should be an incredible show. Steve Merril joining me. How are you, my friend?
Doing well, Prez. Thanks for having me on. Thanks, Teddy, for letting me fill in for him, and I'll try to do my best not to embarrass Teddy because I know he gets easily embarrassed on this show on a daily basis.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm just. It's nice to have a change, Steve. Guys, quick note: it's Friday. Every Friday is Freebie Friday at sportsmemo.com. We pick one handicapper who's doing well, and we give out his client plays for free. So head over to sportsmemo.com. Check out Freebie Friday. Steve, we got an absolute jam-packed show tonight. I mean, we're packing them in every day now. Three guests almost every day. Today, Rob the loquacious one, Veno. He's going to talk the Atlanta Hawks game tonight. He's also going to look at the Brooklyn game on Sunday and a baseball game. Skee Profit joining us. Both WNBA games, and he too is going to take a look at the Sixers-Hawks game. And Tokyo Brandon, the number one most profitable handicapper at WagerTalk this calendar year. He's coming on, and we're talking Japanese baseball. Anyway, what did you learn in the wonderful world of sports last night, brother?
Yeah, as I say, I can see why Teddy took today off, man. We got WNBA, Tokyo baseball. I mean, you and I have been doing this for a while, Prez, and we're going to be a little short on questions on follow-ups on those, I think. But I love it. I love learning about new sports. I think the viewers do too. But we'll stick to the big sports here for what I learned last night. And first of all, I got to talk about the NBA game last night. You know, I entered on a 27-11 run. I had the Milwaukee Bucks -3.5. It was looking like I was going to be 28-11 after they had the 30-11 lead after the first quarter. And then they end up getting outscored 31-15. They're up by 3 at the half. What I want to point out, though, about that game last night was something I put on Twitter. The first half line was 2.5. The game line was 3.5. Then the first half line was 3. By tip-off last night, the first half line in many spots was 3.5. The full game line was 3.5. And the reason is because over the last 6 years or so, NBA Game 3 teams that are down 0-2 had gone 90-41 against the spread in the first half of Game 3.
Wow.
And this shows, Prez, why stuff stops working after it works for a while, because the odds makers and the betting public catch on. And I think that's a telltale sign that they know that now. And what happens? Milwaukee covers by 3 in the first half, loses the first half line. I'm still feeling pretty good about the full game play, obviously. Not so fast, my friends. You know, they end up flat for the second half. They win by exactly 3. And I failed to cover by half a point. If you had told me the Brooklyn Nets were going to have only 83 points on 35.5% shooting and 25% from three-point range, I would have felt pretty good about Milwaukee. They find a way to win, but they still don't cover. We'll see. Now in the Game 4 situation, they're a home dog looking ahead. But quickly on that first half, we're going to talk more about these games with Rob and Skee and the other guests, but, you know, they're doing it again tonight. In fact, it's even more extreme. If you look at the Denver Nuggets, who are down 0-2 heading back home to the altitude, they're a 1.5-point favorite. Guess what the first half line is? 2.5 in some spots. I don't think I've ever seen that, Prez, in my 30 years as a handicapper, where a first half line is a point higher than the full game line. It's like it's NFL preseason football or something.
Yeah.
So I'll leave it at that. I mean, that's what I learned, is that the odds makers have caught on to that 90-41 angle, and it's been priced in, to say the least.
Steve Merril, everybody. Steve, did you watch the hockey game last night? I mean, do you ever watch hockey, or you have no interest like Teddy?
Well, look, I've had two worlds of hockey in my life. In the 1980s and 90s, I was a diehard Washington Capitals fan. went to all the playoff games and watched the Rangers and watched the Penguins, especially with Lemieux and Yager in the early 90s, eliminate
So
my
you know your
Capitals.
stuff.
I do, and I actually had tickets to games 3 and 4 in 1998, the Stanley Cup Finals, to watch them get swept by the Red Wings. And then when I moved out of the D.C. area, kind of lost interest. They were really bad in the early 2000s, and that's when they got Ovechkin and some of the other stars. I never really jumped back on board, Prez. I will say this. I watched Game 7 of the Eastern Finals in the Stanley Cup a few years ago. I did kind of get into it then. Felt a little guilty. I don't like being a bandwagon guy. But then I was like, the hell with this, man. I paid my dues for 10, 20 years. But yeah, I don't follow it anymore. But I do appreciate hockey. I played a little pickup after college. So I am an ice hockey fan, but have not been following it closely, though.
Oh, man, it's spectacular. The hockey between Vegas and Colorado. I mean, Marco and Brian, congratulations to you two guys. You got your team through, and I think they're going to win the Stanley Cup. This Vegas team, it's one of the most incredible stories. I mean, right out of the gate, their first year, they went to the semifinals, and it just...
No, that's when they played the Capitals. They played them.
Yeah, I mean...
They made the finals. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the finals. It's an unbelievable story, and it should end with them carrying the cup. So congratulations to Vegas last night. What a game. And also, everybody, there's 138 of you on the show, and that probably means 138 of you, give or take, were around at this time yesterday when I got a phone call out of the blue to bet the Milwaukee Brewers. I passed it all on. And for that reason alone, I want 100 likes in the next 5 minutes, because I literally handed you guys a winner out of the blue, told you I had some inside info, told you I had a phone call right before the show started. All we do is give out great info, Steve. Speaking of great info, let's bring him in. Rob, Veno, the hair. Robert, how are you, my friend? What's up? What's going on? Are you still killing it in the NBA?
I am good, Prez. Last night actually was only my second 5% play of the entire season in the NBA. It got home. Utah and the Clippers over the total. Rest assured, Prez, I didn't have to get up next to my big screen and rub anybody's nipples shooting free throws to get that one home. It came home without any of my help. But it's been good. Like I say, NBA 2020 season, number one at WagerTalk for the past 3 years. Combined profits, number one at WagerTalk. So NBA's been kind. I'm still doing well.
Yeah, Rob, I never mentioned, actually, I went 2-1 in the NBA last night, and there was no nipple squeezing, but I was cleaning the basket last night in the that over got me a little bit nervous in the late game. Nothing happened for about 2.5 minutes. I started having a little freak out. Then the Clippers started making a comeback. I'm like, okay, over is good. Now I'm having a freak out on Utah. But it all worked out well. And oh my God, hats off, Donovan Mitchell. Whew. There are so many incredible young stars in the NBA. I mean, Rob and Steve, you guys, this is off topic, but you guys have studied and watched the sport. Has there ever been, Rob, this many young, Damian, Trey, Curry's not young, but it feels like there are 15 bona fide shooting stars in this league.
Yeah, it's true, Prez. I mean, we saw Jason Tatum last round before the Celtics got knocked out. Devin Booker at Phoenix has been putting on a display. And, it's a shame we're missing Jamal Murray with Denver. I mean, if he was involved, we saw that last year between him and Mitchell.
Rob, I said to Vivian last night, I think Denver could have won it all with him. Their inside-out game, their shooting from the perimeter, they would be an impossible team to defend. Real shame. But both of those kids are young. Anyway, let's get into it, boys. First game, Robert, Atlanta Hawks hosting the 76ers, Trae Young. Embiid, Trae Young's just putting on a crazy performance right now, doing what, speaking of Jamal Murray doing what Jamal did last year. How you betting this game, Rob?
Well, I'm going to play first half, Prez, and I'm going to play the Atlanta Hawks first half. You can find a couple of stray pick'ems out there still, but the Hawks right now in most places have to lay a half a point. So for most, you'll be looking to win by one. Hey, couple of quick reasons here. And Steve pointed out 90 and 41 home teams against the spread, game 3. In the case of the Atlanta Hawks, it's another one of those, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They are 7-0 against the spread in the first half in these playoffs. They've covered every single game. They've won 6 of those straight up. The only one that they didn't was the 3-point loss last game in Philadelphia. They lose 55-52, but they were getting 4 points and covered the number. When you're betting first halves, and especially in this particular situation, Prez, in this matchup, you got to look at these second quarter rotations, and Philadelphia's bench has been outplayed by Atlanta to a pretty severe degree. Last game, it was 32-0. Hawks advantage up until the fourth quarter or the end of the third quarter when Shake Milton started going crazy. But the Philadelphia 76ers backups have been terrible in both games so far. Subsequently, the Hawks have won both second quarters, 32-27, 35-24. That's big when you're betting first halves here because I think these starters can neutralize each other. Atlanta actually at home could even be off to a lead when the backups come in. Doc Rivers, I think, was scared last game to even put his bench in. We saw Joel Embiid play the entire third quarter, and Ben Simmons almost played the entire third quarter. Lucky Shake Milton bailed them out with a couple of key shots. Last thing here I'll talk about in this game, why I like Atlanta, is these full capacity crowds. We're seeing them start to make a difference here in this particular round. Milwaukee last night, crowd helped. Utah in the first 2 games with a full arena, the crowd has helped. Brooklyn in their first 2 games, full capacity, it helped. The Phoenix Suns with 16,000 plus in their first 2 games, it helped. I think State Farm Arena, same thing here. You're going to get 15,000, 16,000 in there tonight. Hawks coming home. So far, guys, they've looked like the better team, but I don't want to generalize as far as full game is concerned because we're focused on halftime here. I think the Hawks get it done first half against Philly. Their role players likely to play a little bit better at home. That's a general rule of thumb where NBA playoffs are concerned.
When we talk about the Atlanta Hawks, I had to do my Teddy impression there. I couldn't resist because that's how he would have come in. But no, Rob, when we talk about the Hawks, so we have to talk about the coaching change. March 1st, Nate McMillan takes over as the interim coach. He'll be the head coach here, maybe 30 other jobs if he'd wanted them at this point. But this Atlanta team was 14-20 straight up. Let's not forget. They've gone now, 32-13 since. Just incredible. 27-11 at home this year, but I believe, Rob, I don't have the exact number. I think they're on a 21-2 home run, if I'm not mistaken, something in that range. It's been remarkable. So it makes a lot of sense. But here again, like I talked about in the opener, you've got the Hawks +1 for the game, yet they're -0.5 for the first half. Does it worry any that that's been priced in? It's not a huge difference. It's not like 3.5 and 3.5 last night. But it looks like the odds makers looking the same way. And the other question I wanted to ask you is the defense. Atlanta wins game 1, but they still allow 55% shooting. They, of course, allowed 53 in the loss against Philly in game 2. So they've yet to be able to stop them defensively. Do you think this could be a high-scoring game for that reason as well?
It could be, Steve. In particular, they can't stop Joel Embiid, right? It really doesn't matter what they do. They're not going to stop him. He's going to shoot a high percentage from the floor. A lot of Phillies baskets in game 1 came in that late 3-minute flurry. When they put on a full court press and scored some easy hoops, but they have shot it well. No doubt about it. Atlanta actually was in position to win. They won the first game. They're in position, down 88-84 with less than 5 seconds left in the second quarter to win that second game as well. Defensively, there's only so much that they can do. It hurts them that they've lost DeAndre Hunter for the season, right? The UVA kid, second year, really a good defensive player. They don't have him. Still think they have enough, and they probably have more firepower overall than do the Philadelphia 76ers. And Steve, just one thing that people have been talking about that I don't necessarily agree with is a lot of people think that the Hawks are just a fly by night. They're here until the Sixers eliminate them. But I know you're in this boat. There was a lot of action, as much action as on any team in the NBA on the futures board to start the season, where season over/under win totals are concerned. What the Hawks are doing now is what everybody expected them to do from the outset. Coaching change had a lot to do with it. Nate McMillan, known as a defensive guy, has actually shown that he's flexible. We heard him talking to Trae Young on the sidelines last game, telling him push pace, take it out of the net on makes and run. So he's not necessarily a stagnant head coach. Learned some lessons here. I think Atlanta's in a good spot right now, and they match up with Philadelphia a lot better than people think.
Rob Veno, everyone. And Joe, you are right. That's Steve knows what I'm talking about. Let's get into the Sunday game, Milwaukee versus Brooklyn. And Rob, you mentioned the Philadelphia bench. Last night in the Milwaukee-Brooklyn game, I don't know if you guys know this, but Giannis and Chris accounted for the most amount of points two players have got versus the rest of the team in the history of basketball. Did you know that? That's how bad that
was. Basketball, but
he'd hit one more damn free throw. I would have won my bet. What was he, 4 for 9 from the free throw line? You know how I feel about the Greek, Rob. Most overrated MVP, 2-time MVP in the history of the league, in my opinion. He's done nothing to change my thought on that one.
Okay. Well, anyway, man, I'll tell you, Milwaukee ran away in the first quarter. 9 points they held Brooklyn to. I think it was 30-9. Then the second quarter.
30-11. Yeah, 30-11.
30-11. And then the second quarter, it switched completely, and Brooklyn just took over the game. It really came down to the last minute. Now we have a series 2-1. Milwaukee plus 1.5. The total has been bet. Well, not bet. The original total was 239 with Harden playing. Then with him out, 235. Now we got 228.5 on tap. The shooting percentage last night was abysmal. Nothing fell. I never do this, but I like the over in this game. Rob, how you betting this?
Yeah, I may get there, Prez. The first 3 games have got me a little bit gun shy. I did play over in the second game. Did not work out. But let's go. You made some great points here. Let's go over some quick numbers. First of all, how about the 5.5-point turnaround in the full game price here? Milwaukee goes off as a 3.5-point favorite last night. They win a game. They get back in the series. And now they're a 2-point underdog. 5.5-point move, which shows you where the odds makers expected this money to come, all Brooklyn, and they're prepared for it. They set a number where maybe you have to think twice now. I'm going to go first half Brooklyn here, guys. Steve, in this one, Brooklyn is a 0.5-point favorite in the first half, and 2 for the game, so it's a little less than half of the price. Prez, as to what you were talking about, Chris Middleton, Giannis, they scored 68 of the 86 last night. Here's what the other 6 guys on Milwaukee do from the floor. 23.5% field goal percentage, 11.8 3-point percentage. They go 0 for 1 from the free throw line. But it was really a 2-on-2 game, right? Because for the other side, it was just as lopsided. It was Durant and Irving against Giannis and Middleton. For the Nets, their other 6 guys, 32% from the floor, 18.8 from 3. They don't even shoot a free throw in that game. There were other 6 guys that participated for the Nets. The problem, though, for Milwaukee has been series long, right? I mean, their entire team over the course of 3 games, and this is a team that's predicated on 3-point shooting. That's head coach Mike Budenholzer's philosophy, drive and kick. They're 22.7% from 3, and they're only 57.4% from the free throw line. Steve, again, as you mentioned, a lot of that has to do with Giannis being the guy that's getting there, and Giannis, the guy that's clanking free throws. But they're not good from 3. They're not good from the free throw line, and that's 3 games running. That's probably what scares me a little bit here in this 4th game as far as over is concerned, even though the total's been really adjusted. The highest they've shot from 3-point range in this entire series, 29%. They have outshot the Nets at the free throw line. The Nets have not gotten to the foul line at all in 3 games. Milwaukee's shot 47 times at the free throw line. The Nets have only shot 24 free throws in 3 games. That's a plus 23 in attempts. Yet the Bucks have only turned it into plus 6 on the scoreboard. That's crazy. So if they keep doing that, they're going to find a way to lose this game. I think this really quickly, guys. I think that the Nets saw that physical style that Milwaukee played last night, and they'll make adjustments to play against that. For Milwaukee, I think you come into this game and say, hey, we found a way to beat these guys. Might not be any adjustments. Just let's go out and be physical and rough them up again. Always like the team that makes adjustments, especially early on. I think the Nets have too much firepower. I'm asking them to win by 1 point in the first quarter. For the Bucks, again, anti-Bucks stuff. They scored 61 points in the first half of game 1, 32 and 29 in each quarter. And since then, 11 of the 12 quarters they've played, they've scored 24 or less. So to me, I'll take a shot with Brooklyn to win by 1 point in the first half on Sunday, game 4.
Yeah, and as I said, Rob, the big thing to me was the adjustment. They go from being a 3.5-point dog to now being a slight favorite in the game. And as you said, they basically just have to win the first quarter to cover the half. But yeah, once again, Milwaukee holds the Bucks to 36%. I'm sorry, hold the Nets to 36% shooting overall, 25% from the 3-point line, and they still don't cover. That worries me going forward. Hey, quickly, Rob, before we get you out of here, let me ask you a baseball game here. You're looking at the first 5-inning Reds-Rockies. Always curious your thoughts on that as you're doing first 5 inning versus the full game. Colorado, obviously, take them out of Coors Field in that thin air and altitude. They're a terrible offensive team. How are you looking at this one, first 5, Rockies at Reds?
Yeah, a couple of quick reasons, Steve. First of all, the Red starter, Tyler Mahle, has been really good in his last 3 starts. Pretty awesome form, as a matter of fact. 17 1/3 innings pitched, 0.69 whip. 18-3 strikeouts to walk ratio. So 2 of those 3 games were in hitter-friendly parks. Remember, they played one in Nationals Park, and the other one was in Wrigley Field. Third game was in pitcher-friendly St. Louis. But I like the way he's throwing right now. He's had a previous start against this team. Pitched against the Rockies on May the 15th. Goes 7 innings, only allows 2 earned runs. We're worried about the first 5 here, though. And in that game, the score was tied 2-2. After 5 innings, so that would stay under our number here. Have to throw in the fact, guys, that the Reds have struggled against left-handed pitching all season long. 25th in Major League Baseball in OPS. Terrible 219 batting average against lefties. 297 on base percentage with a 24.1 strikeout rate. So, even though Kyle Freeland is not the best lefty of all, the Reds season-long numbers have been poor enough for me to go ahead and take a shot with him to hold them down through the first 5. Freeland against teams with similar statistics against left-handed pitching, the Mets and the Pirates, both of those games where he threw, guys, the score after 5 innings was 3-1 and 1-1, both under the 5 that we're looking for tonight. Tyler Mahle, he's given up 2 or less runs in 4 of his last 5 starts where the 5-inning line is concerned. So that's good as well. I think both offenses are overwhelmed by the pitching here. Going to take a shot with under 5 runs here. The one problem I have, Steve, and it's really a philosophy point of mine, where totals are concerned in the first game of a series, at this time of the day, we just don't know who the home plate umpire is. If you're dealing with a guy who's a very, very high-frequency over umpire, that could scare me off late. But right now, without knowing the umpires, I think this game sets up fundamentally, situationally, as under 5 runs for the first 5 innings.
Rob Veno, how are you? I'm having a laugh. Steve wrote in Slack, I don't even know how to spell loquacious. It's not with a C, Steve. There's no C. Well, there might be a C.
Was that wrong? I honestly don't know. I'm not a great speller.
I'm pretty positive it has a Q in it. Rob, what do you got to promote? Then, man, oh man, we got to get this show moving.
Today we can promote NBA. Up and available right now, WagerTalk.com. For those who don't know what loquacious means, it means Prez thinks I talk too much when I get on. So I'm going to shut up now and get off the air so you guys can move on.
No.
You didn't even know that's what it meant, Steve?
Yes, I knew what it meant, but I was saying Rob doesn't ever have to shut up. I love talking with Rob Veno. He's as sharp as they get. Hear Rob Veno tomorrow, Saturday, noon Eastern to 2 p.m. Eastern with Joe Ranieri on Sirius XM Channel 204 for more loquaciousness.
Yes, and it is with a Q. Joe Esposito. We love you, bro. Rob, get out of here. Steve Merril's big game breakdown, Skee Profit's Tokyo Brandon, and a penalty box segment that you better not miss. We'll be right back.
Want up-to-the-minute scores and odds direct from Las Vegas? Then check out our WagerTalk odds page. You'll get all the latest lines along with moves as they happen from all the biggest books in Las Vegas, including Westgate Superbook, Circa, Golden Nugget, Wynn, Stations, CG, and South Point, just to name a few. Best of all, it's absolutely free.
It's time for the big game breakdown here on WagerTalk Today. Filling in for Teddy Covers here. This is Steve Merril. I'm going to give you a baseball game to look at tonight. I wanted to try to pick a high-profile game, a national TV game. Pretty light card tonight on Friday. There's one daytime game on MLB out of network, and that's the Cubs daytime action. And there's only one nighttime game that might be on national TV for most of you at 7 Eastern, and that's the Padres at Mets. But it's actually a great game to talk about for a couple reasons. First of all, we had the second overall favorite coming into the season to win the World Series, the San Diego Padres, a team just a couple weeks ago that had the best record in baseball, has come down to earth a bit here in recent weeks, and they're in that unbelievably competitive NL West. If I told you all coming in, what are we, early mid-June, that the best team in baseball would be out of the NL West, everybody would say it's either the Padres or the Dodgers. Well, it's the San Francisco Giants still the best record in the league. So the Padres are in for it in that Western Division, but they're in for it tonight, too, against the best pitcher in baseball. And that's another reason I wanted to use this game as the big game breakdown. That's Jacob deGrom and the Mets. The Mets are quietly 6 games above 500 right now. They have the 4th best net run differential in all the National League now, heading into a mid-June. And I think they're a play-on team right now in general. Well, their offense really broke out against a red-hot Baltimore team in their last series, yet they still won 1 out of 2, and they just played San Diego on the road. And after losing the first 2 games in that series, they won the final 2, 10-2. Now they're back home. Now, coming back home off a road trip is sometimes a concern, but they had yesterday off on Thursday. Meanwhile, the Padres have to travel cross-country after that homestand against the Mets. They continued to struggle against the Cubs. They got the first game, then got outscored 10-2 their final 2 home games. They also had yesterday off, but once again have to travel cross-country. So I think the situational setup just from a team angle favors the Mets here, a team that has double-digit hits in 3 of their last 4 games. Meanwhile, the Padres have had single-digit hits now in 8 of their last 9 games. They are not hitting the ball well. They've had 2 runs or less in 5 of their last 6 games, and they've had 2 runs or less in 6 of their last 8 games overall. So they're an ice-cold offense, traveling cross-country, and now facing a good offensive team in the Mets who are in good current form. And I haven't even mentioned deGrom until now again, and that's obviously even more of a key to this matchup. Normally, you get a guy like deGrom with the better offense at home. You're talking about 250 minus 300. It's not that bad tonight. It's in the mid-160 range. So I think there's some value with the New York Mets in this one, and this is a rare opportunity to get Jacob deGrom at probably one of the cheapest prices you're going to find him all season long, and that's because, once again, he's taken on what's considered one of the best teams in baseball in the San Diego Padres, and I believe they are. But the Padres are not in good current form right now. Just to put things in perspective, Blake Snell's on the mound for the Padres, 4.8 ERA, 1.4 WHIP, below average numbers. deGrom, 0.62 ERA and a 0.569 WHIP. Now, we're talking about spin rate and them cracking down on doctoring the baseball. deGrom, maybe he's doing something. I'm not as concerned with him as some of the other big name guys that we've talked about over the past week. Until I see him falter, deGrom in this mid-price range, minus $1.65, minus $1.70, is pretty cheap for the best pitcher in baseball with a team that's in good current form. So take a look at the New York Mets tonight. That's on MLB Network at 7:10 Eastern on Friday. Prez, that was the big game breakdown, and now back to you, my man.
Dude, that was awesome, and we got to get used to the Steve Merril big game breakdown. Teddy's going to be taking 3 weeks off in July, but we're going to keep pressing along, and you're going to be sitting in for him. Steve, we got to bring Skee Profits in. We are, well, you can't cut Rob Veno off. He's uncut or offable. His stuff is gold. I think there should be a show just Rob Veno. Anyway, Skee Profits, you say just as good stuff as Rob in about 10 times less time. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Yeah, Rob is a little bit long-winded, but always great info. And always enjoy being on the show. I was listening to the big game breakdown and just looking at the game myself. I didn't hear you mention the first half at all, but I'm looking at the first half in that game. You see the total at 2.5. That kind of scares me away from back in the first five under with DeGrom on the mound. But I do trust DeGrom. I think Blake Snell is hittable, and it's going to be the second time that they see him recently. And you look at, I mean, he's coming off of a good game, but the two games before that, he got smacked. So I'm thinking Mets first five. What do you think about that?
Yeah, Ski, I mean, once again, they're making you pay a premium. I think it's 165 for the game. It's 190 for the first five. But obviously, the pitching matchup is a huge edge. But then you look at the bullpens here. We know the Padres have one of the best bullpens in baseball. They have a 2.79 ERA on the road. Guess what? The Mets have a 1.69 ERA at home. They have like the best ERA in baseball at home for the bullpen, we're talking. So I think either makes sense. I'd probably rather have the discounted price and hope the bullpens are a wash and the Mets actually might have a slight edge. But once again, I like the offensive current momentum, and that's for a full 9 innings. That's another reason I like the full game there, especially at the cheaper price.
Skee Profits, everyone. Steve Merril, look at that, Skee. You just hop on, take over the show. Anything else you'd like to know? You want to know about the Italy soccer game today? Any questions, perhaps, about Japanese baseball? You want to hang out and speak?
There we go. I love the questions. Bring it. Question the Prez. First of all, I got to say, I got to pull my Teddy here. I got to pull my Teddy and go, I love how he's made two skis today because it's now Skee Profits. He's made you plural, Ski, which I love. I had to point that
dude.
out. That's my Teddy
I was going to go
with
profi for like extra plural. Okay, what's your question, Skee? We're in no rush. We could go till 3 p.m. today.
You look gracious.
We could talk all day, but I'm out here. I'm learning hockey. Everybody out here loves the Knights. A lot of people didn't think that the Knights were going to win this series. Do you think that they have a chance in the next one?
Well, Skee, I'm going to talk about it in the penalty box segment, but let me put it to you this way. It's around minus 500.
Whew.
I would bet Vegas at minus anything. Like there is almost no number. Okay, fine. I would not put $1 million down to win $1. But man, like what people don't realize is if you put $500 down to win 100, you're getting a 20% return on investment in a 2-week period. Right. Like, what is the problem with a 20% return on investment in a 2-week period? I would take Vegas to sweep minus 1.5, minus 2.5 on the dude. It would be the equivalent to me that the thing is the Montreal Canadiens have not been able to play outside of their division all year. There are no teams in the North that can skate like the Vegas Golden Knights. Do I think the Montreal Canadiens might win a game? Maybe game 3. But the first couple of games, they're going to be seeing 4 lines of speed coming at them at 100 miles an hour. And the worst matchup that Montreal could have had was Vegas, because Montreal has shown they can shut down the best line, Matthews Marner on the Leafs. They shut down the Jets' best line. They would have matched up well against Colorado and been able to shut down their best line. But Vegas doesn't have a best line. Vegas has 4 really good lines with no Hall of Fame forwards on their team. They are going to roll out 4 lines with Usain Bolt speed. Montreal is going to be like, whoa, what? I unplugged myself. I got so excited. Steve, ask him about the WNBA. Let's get to it.
I think we just did the penalty box without music, I think, for the first time ever on this show. As I was saying, we just did the penalty box without music for the first time on this show, so that worked out well.
We still got that coming. We're going long today. So be it. Skee, let's go,
Well, Skee will get us back on track. The non-loquacious one, Skee Profit from WagerTalk.com. Skee, we're doing WNBA, I guess, right? So give me what's the first game on the board tonight? Is it the Seattle one here? I'm looking at my schedule. Seattle at Atlanta. What are your thoughts on this one? I'll throw it right to you.
Yeah, if you have the lines there, I'll be honest. I kind of got locked out of my house right before the show, and I was trying to look at the lines right before I came
Housekeeping.
on, so I didn't get a
That's a
chance.
story. What?
Yeah,
Hey, Skee,
I mean,
Skee, I'll
given that
help
we're
you out.
going
Skee,
to
now I'm gonna help Skee out here. Skee, go to the front desk, give them your room number, and they'll get you another key. All right. Right now I've got it's looking like Seattle's minus 10, 168.5 at Atlanta. So huge road favorite here on the road, obviously. A West Coast team laying double digits.
okay. Well, both WNBA games that we're going to talk about today, they just played the same matchup their last game. Like two days ago, I think either Seattle and Atlanta played, and 3 days ago, Dallas and Phoenix, or maybe vice versa. But in that game versus Atlanta, Seattle, I mean, they got off strong, and then they started to play with their lineups. Like, they're just trying to get some more energy to go on the bench because the past couple of games, or at least the game before, it seemed like the main three do majority of the scoring, and the bench not really giving anything. So they kind of were playing with that, and Atlanta went on the run to end the first half. Then in the second half, they came out and they were just clicking. Like everything was working. They put Katie Lou Samuelson back in the starting lineup, and she was starting before she went off to the Olympics to play in the 3-on-3. So they put Talbot back on the bench, and that was the energy that they were lacking. So I like the way that the Storm are trending right now. The last game they played, they had 6 players all in double digits. That's always a good sign. The only thing was they got out rebounded by 10, and that's pretty much a result of how they trap on defense. But they still were able to win the game by 24. And you look at Atlanta, they're a team that's kind of come back down to earth. As of late, they've lost 3 in a row by average of 15.3 points per game. And I mean, they started off really good because I mean, they lost the first couple games, I think, but then they started to play very low competition or teams that were banged up and injured, and they won maybe 3 or 4 games in a row. But just not liking the way that they're playing. They may get Kennedy Carter back today. She's game time decision, and that would be a big boost for them. But it's just tough to go against the momentum that I saw with that Storm team and the lineup that they found in the second half. Also, want to mention that in the second half, they went to a zone, and during that period, they outscored Atlanta 50-28. So they're playing them again in this game. I think they'll probably do the same thing. And the only way I can look would be the Storm for a side, whether it's first half or full game. And if you like the total, I probably would focus more on the first half. I look at first halves in general for both teams, average a little bit more than 84. Storm's first half average higher than 85. And the number that I saw earlier was 84. So it's right about on average. And I would play the first half over rather than the full game, just because when the Storm get up by so much, they take their star players out, and you don't get that same shooting. So sum it up, first half over is the way I'm looking, and for a side, I like the Storm.
Skee Profit, Rafa playing Novak plus 200. Where are you going? And do you even know what I'm talking about?
I think that's tennis. I think.
Yeah, baby. Anyway,
I had no clue.
boo Rafa. That's all I got to say. Boo Rafa. Dallas plus 2 versus Phoenix. I think it's the mystery versus the mismatch. I don't know. I don't know any of these names. Where are we going here? Mystery would be a great name, though. Flat out. Like
sounds
the
interesting.
Maryland Mysteries.
Oh, what are they? The Mercury?
Maybe. I mean,
didn't even remember
WNBA could use some more teams. They could use an expansion. They'll take a mystery team somewhere.
Toronto.
Okay, there you go.
That is a great idea.
You know,
I like that.
Like I said, both of these teams, their last game, they were playing each other, and it's a pretty important game for both teams. But I mean, Phoenix, they've already they lost their possible tiebreaker with Connecticut. They split the games with the Wings so far, so this is going to be the third game. And as far as I can remember, maybe since they started doing this kind of play-in type situation, or however you want to call it, for the WNBA since 2016, the top 2 teams, they get a double bye. The third and fourth teams, they avoid first round single elimination. And as far as I can remember, back to 2016, I think Phoenix has been in that single elimination game, or at least played in that. They didn't get a double bye. So pretty much this is a game that they really have to win. And I'm listening to the players. Like the last game, they only lost by 4 points to this Dallas Wings team, who I don't think are supposed to be that good this year. They do have a lot of young talent that they have acquired through the draft this year and last year, and got a couple players back from the Olympics as well. But like I said, Phoenix only lost by 4. And look at the 3-point percentages for both teams: 38% for Dallas, only 20% for Phoenix. And you just listen to what Kia Nurse said. She said we missed a lot of wide open shots. They had success playing through Griner and just playing through her, whether she's getting layups or she's getting open shots for other people, but it just was an off night. And the bench hasn't really been there for them. I know with Taurasi out and Bree Hartley out, the past couple games, they got outscored 66, I think, to 10. So I think Phoenix gives a max effort just because they need this kind of tiebreaker, and they just lost first in the last time out. I think that they'll actually make some shots and shoot better than 20%. And I think that they can win by margin. The last I checked, the line was 1.5 and went up to 2.5. I think that they can still cover that.
Skee, real quick before we get you out of here, I just want to let everyone know you will be back with me at 3 p.m. Eastern today on Friday for NBA tip-off, and we're going to dig really deep into the 2 playoff games tonight. But in about 30 seconds or so, give us a quick tease here on this Philadelphia-Atlanta game, something you're looking at, and then we'll dig in more in depth this afternoon when we talk.
Yeah, for sure. I'll just look at a couple props for now, and just ways that I've kind of been looking every single game. I'll mention Collins. If you can find his assist prop, it should be over a half. He was hitting it 73% of the times in the regular season, and he's hit it every single time in 5 games that he's played Philadelphia. So I would look towards him to get 1 assist. And for one more player for Atlanta, I have to look towards Bogdanovich. He's gone over his points, rebounds, assists total today in 22 of his last 30 games. So I don't see why he doesn't do it tonight. He plays a lot better at home than on the road, and that's where they are tonight. So Bogdanovich, points, rebounds, assists over, and Collins assist over are ways that I'm looking.
Skee, we love having you on, man. Just awesome stuff. Thank you for waking up, moving the 3 women you went to bed with to the side. And
hopefully one of them will let him back in his house, Prez. Hopefully one of them lets him back in.
They were the ones that locked you out, Skee.
It's all coming together.
And you know
now.
what? You know what, Skee? I could live with that. If you're ever going to get locked out of a house, let it be after a quadrisome. You are the best. Anything to promote?
I've been really good on totals. Just off the top of my head, I think I'm 26-11, my last 37 totals. I know in the NBA, I think 13-4 so far on playoff totals. WNBA for the season totals, I'm like 10-5. And MLB, I've even been doing a little bit well. I think 5 of my last 7 MLB totals. So look out for my totals.
Beautiful stuff. Thanks so much for joining us, man. We'll see you next Friday, same time. Steve, we got Tokyo Brandon coming on the show, and let me tell you a little bit quickly about Tokyo. So firstly, he lives there. He lives in Japan. He was a scout, and he scouted the Asian leagues for baseball. Yeah, and he is the #1 handicapper in profit. He is the #1 handicapper in profit 2021 across the board. His Korean baseball record, 61-37. His Japanese baseball record, 59%. This guy is absolute gold. And Steve, I mean, that's a sport. These are sports not only you and I don't know about, but it really just shows what is going on in the industry today. I mean, can you believe, would you ever think 5 years ago we would be discussing this?
Yeah, and that's what I love about WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, Prez, is that we have specialists. You know, it's like you can have multiple cappers. We don't compete with each other. We're a team. We're a family. We all win together. And we talk about diversification. You know, I've been doing some financial episodes with John Ryan over at SportsMemo.com. You can watch it on a Sports Memo TV there on Free Picks channel. And I talk about diversification. You know, you have Bitcoin, you have some assets, you have some stocks, you have some commodities. I mean, Japanese baseball does not correlate to the NBA playoffs. You can have both of them. You know, it's like you build your bankroll. We have the prop master, Andy Lang, on this show during the week. I do NASCAR with him. He does props in all the sports. That's how you have to approach this as a true investment. And you know, Prez, I'm a big guy on the long-term investment. There, you got me going. See what you're doing to me today? Invest with the long-term investment approach. And how much better to diversify than to add some Asian baseball to your portfolio. And one thing real
Yeah.
quick, I was actually on with either you or Teddy. I was co-hosting a few months ago when he made his first appearance. And I thought he said
Yeah.
something fascinating on that show, is that Korean baseball is kind of like AA minors. Japanese baseball is like AAA minors. That's the level of play. I thought that was really fascinating. I've actually repeated that to several people since. But yeah, he knows his stuff. He was a former MLB scout, Japanese baseball expert, and I'm looking forward to see what he has to say and how he approaches these games.
Yeah, and dude, I mean, look, we got Kevin Dolan doing rugby as well. I love that
Yeah.
sport. I actually gave out a rugby bet on this show last summer, and it won. But
That's
guys,
an awesome
I
sport,
really
by the way.
hope.
Awesome sport.
What?
The 7-on-7 in the Olympics this summer will be my favorite thing to watch.
Oh,
7-on-7 rugby is just fantastic. Big rugby gets a little slow. Yeah.
No, 7-on-7, and especially when you're watching like Fiji and New Zealand
they're
play.
incredible.
I mean, it's
like a bunch of fullbacks and tight ends out there, man. Those guys could be dangerous if they were in the NFL. Can you imagine? That guy in the New England Patriots was on the U.S. Olympic team. Remember 5 years ago, he was on that team, the guy that played for the Patriots. Yeah, they're impressive dudes, man. You see, Prez, real quick, you see there's a football league coming without helmets, full shoulder pads and everything. There's a pro football league coming. I just saw a little clip on it the other day, and they play without helmets.
Their gimmick is watch out our football where everyone gets concussed. Is that like
basically it's like a high speed flag football with contact, but they're not wearing helmets. So it's gonna be like rugby would be my guess. But I haven't dug into that because I'm not gonna probably mess with it from a handicapping perspective. But it looks like there's some league coming with that kind of idea, and it'd be interesting to see if rugby picks up because of it, maybe.
Well, listen, I mean, all anyone should care about, all the people who log on, Joe, Nail, Abid, Yoshi. Oh, by the way, Yoshi, I agree with your NBA thoughts. These guys should all be playing Tokyo, Brandon. I mean, in all seriousness, like, it's fun to watch sports at night and have some action on them. But if you know there is a guy out there who every year just demolishes a sport, you just play the guy. Like, it's not hard. I mean, we are talking about legit money here. Also, Steve, I know you talk about investing with John Ryan. I made a big ADA purchase yesterday. So Cardano, I put a lot of money in Cardano yesterday, dude. I don't know if you have any thoughts.
Yeah, I don't. The only ones I follow are Bitcoin and Ethereum, just because they're on the commodities exchanges. You can go long and short. Are you getting feedback, or is it just in my head? Are you getting the max headroom, or is that just me?
I don't think Joe wants to hear what you have to say.
I don't know if the older viewers, you remember Max Headroom from the 80s? He's like,
yes.
Yeah, the thing I've talked about John Ryan, he and I both have been short Bitcoin since the high 50s, and I'm purely a technical trend follower, and it rolled over for my indicators. I've just been riding the trend down. I do think I've said it's been in a $30,000 to $40,000 channel for weeks now, and it's held up. I will be long Bitcoin to probably give it breaks above 40. I think 30 is the bottom. We've hit that twice with hard drops, and then it's closed above. So for the Bitcoin traders out there, I do think 30 is a legitimate floor for a long time. If it breaks below 30 and closes like at 29 or 28,000, I'd be really worried. But I think 30 is a good stop. And I think those of you that have been looking to get into Bitcoin and missed the boat when it was 60, I think at 36, 37, there's probably a lot of upside here over the next couple of years. And once again, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a trader, and this is my personal opinion.
So you've been shorting Bitcoin of late?
I got long at 10,000 and I've been short at 57. So it's worked out pretty damn good for me.
Yeah,
but once again, Prez, this is just technical. I don't handicap it at all. You know, when I got into the financial stuff 5-6 years ago, I told myself, I don't want to have to handicap the financials like I've done sports every day for 25 years, because you know what a grind that is. I want an automatic quantitative method where I don't second guess myself. I personally have zero opinion on the value of Bitcoin. I don't think anybody does. You can't tell me, somebody can tell me what Bitcoin is worth. It goes from 10 to 60 to 30 over like a 5-7 month period. It's impossible to say what the value of Bitcoin is. But I liked it at 10 because of inflation and other things and the dollar being weakened. At 60, it got a little frothy. And John and I talk a lot about 50% retracements. That was exactly a 50% retracement that we've seen the last month or two. So I think 30 we've seen hard spikes at 30 where all the sellers were, capitulated, and then it went back to the mid 30s, high 30s. So 30 looks like a really good floor. If it breaks above 40 again, I think it could be running again to 60, 70, 80,000 like we've seen. But, once again, just my opinion, that's not how I invest. I'll be above 40 just because that's my technical breakout, but I think it makes a lot of sense. But Prez,
Joe,
the other coins are interesting to me. Like we joke with Joe Ranieri on NBA Tip-Off once again, 3 p.m. Eastern today on Friday. Joe loves having me on Fridays. I usually give him some props heading into the weekend. And Doggy Coin, we were talking about a few weeks ago. We all got a big laugh out of that. But I can't get involved with that because there's no commodities market on it. I can't short it. You can only sell it, but you have to own it to sell it. And I'm sure as hell not going to buy it now and then hope that it goes a little bit higher to sell it. But I do think Dogecoin will end up at zero at some point, in my personal opinion. It started as a joke.
Oh, 100%.
I still think there's no value to it. But there's no way to take advantage because you can't short it. That's the problem.
Steve, I think ultimately 90% of these coins are going to end up at zero at some point.
You're right.
I mean,
but some of them hit a home run like Bitcoin, though.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, Bitcoin is different because Bitcoin is and will be a storage of value, whereas I think Ethereum and ADA are going to be actual currencies. ADA, why am I echoing? ADA they're cutting deals all over the place to be a coin that is used to buy and sell online, and it's so low right now. The big problem with Bitcoin is it's very hard for people to get into the market, even at $30,000. How many Bitcoins can an average person buy? Whereas ADA, Cardano is at like $150, $160, $1 and 50, 160. I mean, if everybody sits there and says, I'll buy 10 a week, 20 a week, they're spending $30 a week. And next thing you know, you got your hands on 1,000 of these things. I think they're going to $5. So I think there's a hell of an opportunity with ADA. I think it's going to be one of the bigger transactional coins in the long run.
Yeah, and the thing with all of this, it's all risk reward. It's the same thing with like angel investing, when you're trying these startup companies. These guys that do well with companies, like they hit these unicorns like Uber, these other ones, but they have also missed on a 50 or 20 or 50 of their other picks. Because on your, on these cryptos, if you get it right on one of the 10 and it goes to 1,000 to 1, you can lose on the other 9. That's the game plan you got to have, is that you're trying to hit home runs. You're not even trying to hit home runs. You're trying to hit monster grand slams with these.
Yeah,
the others will go to zero. Right.
Don't. Anyway, guys, we had technical difficulties with Tokyo Brandon, but we will have him on next week, and we did tell you about him. You can get the rest of his Japanese baseball season for only $499. That is active until the end of the month. I know John Trump said Bitcoin is a scam, and pretty much let's move on to the penalty box segment. That's where we're going. Okay, I got so much to give you guys. It's ridiculous. Let's start right off the bat with the hockey series. We've got the New York Islanders at plus 250 against the Lightning. And I tell you, I think that is a good bet. I think there is a ton of value on the New York Islanders. We just watched this team dismantle the Boston Bruins. They've won 3 games in a row, and I understand the Lightning are the champs, but at plus, and I think the Lightning are more likely to win the series, but at plus 250, I am taking the New York Islanders. Vegas at minus 500, minus 550, minus 600. I don't care. I'll take Vegas to win the series in 5 games. So take the Vegas Golden Knights to win the series in 5 games. I got soccer for you all, guys. Every bet that I am giving out, I am making. So here we go. Italy today. I love this play. I know it's minus 275. I don't care. Italy is going to win today. But I also like the score of the game. Italy 2-0 at plus 550. So take that bet. I also have a parlay going with Italy and Denmark. I like Belgium tomorrow, my favorite bet of the weekend, minus 143. I love that their star is out. It brought the line down, and they're still a much better team than Russia, even though they're playing in Russia. I also like England 2-1 over Croatia, and that's plus 900. I also like the over in the England game, 2.5, and that's plus 130. And I like Italy to win the whole thing at plus 900. This is a whole new Italian soccer team, and they are pressing the pace this year. That's it for me. What a privilege to do this show. Sorry you went so long today. Big thank you to Steve for covering for Teddy. Tokyo Brandon for trying and attempting to get on. Skee and Rob, Joe, Dan. Everybody have yourselves an incredible weekend, and we'll see you all Friday. Lots of love.
Sign up for the free WagerTalk Text Club to gain access to free plays and exclusive discounts. Just text WagerTalk to 33222 to sign up and get a $10 coupon to use on WagerTalk.com.